Why, hello there, Anastasia here. I do hope this video finds you well. I thank you for tuning in. This is a summary of a knife I've done a full review. The full review will be linked in the description. This is the One Track Mind Ire V2. This is an awesome knife. I love my V1. It's right here. This is pretty much a strict improvement in my opinion. And the V1 was so good that it won my Best Knives of 2025, and this is even better. So, yeah, this is amazing. Just a quick touch up on what you got here. You got about 3.8 inches of blade. Maybe even 8.5 inches of blade. It's over 3.25, or over 3 3/4, I should say. It's just shy of 9 inches overall, coming in at 8 7/8 with about 5 1/8-ish of blade. Or handle. Blade. I'm not going to touch over all the full specs. The full specs were, of course, in the full review, which you can see, again, linked in the description. I said that right? I don't even know. My brain shuts down all the time. Especially when this knife is involved, because this knife is great, and I really, really, really like this knife. This knife, unlike the first one, is made by Reate. The first one was made by Kunwu, and Reate brought their A game here. They were not kidding. This is bigger than the first one. First of all, let's just quickly touch on that. As you can see, the angles, it's sleeker, more of a arc. The actual nose is a little bit less this one has a little bit more of a snub nose. This one, the angles out a little bit more, and it sits in a very aggressive stance. Though there is nothing wrong with that first one. It, like the first one, is a bolster lock. This particular knife has titanium with a titanium backspacer. It is contoured, though it is a very, very subtle contouring at the very apex. It's almost flat, but it's slightly less contoured than the V1, but it's also bigger. Not that that has anything to do with the contouring, but it is bigger. It is a larger knife, as I said. The first one was 3.5 inches of blade. It has thumb stud, opening hole aperture, and front flipper action. Actuation methods. It is on bearings, as you can, well, I mean, yeah, it's got a super control. This is some of the best action, I think, as far as controlled drop and glassy feel of action. This is like peak Reate. This is, I mean, Reate knives oftentimes have a little bit of a tightness in their pivot. Now, this is a prototype, and this one's been passed around, so it's definitely seen its use, so it's probably broken in a little bit, but yeah, that's good even by Reate standards. Everything about this is good, even for Reate standards. The execution of the inlays and the fact that I can barely feel them, and I can almost always feel them on every knife, even from Reate. Excellent stuff there. Back to the blade, though, real fast. This one has a belt satin, a heavy belt satin. There are different finishes. I believe there's a satin DLC version like the first one, or something DLC version like the first one. The one I ordered, which, yeah, I ordered it. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it. I didn't get the special edition, launch edition. And when I noticed that one was sold out, I said to myself, you know what? I have a V1. Why do I need a V2? And then this showed up at my door. In fact, I can pretty much said that in the unboxing. I wasn't expecting this, and then it showed up. And then I ordered the V2, even though I couldn't get the edition that I wanted, because holy crap, this is good. I also said in the full review and probably the unboxing, if anybody happens to be getting the special, one of the limited 30 special variants of this thing, and they don't want it, I'm buying, because it's really cool, and I really want it. So, if you happen to know where one is, let me know, because I will definitely try to be searching one of those out. Yeah, I think it would be awesome. It's Damacor, which is just cool. In fact, I don't have any knives in Damacor. Maybe I can rectify that with this. But no. Either way, this particular one is in MagnaCut. The V1 was in 20CV. 62 to 63 HRC, I believe, on the MagnaCut, so pretty much optimal where you want that to be. I think the 62 is probably more extended for the DLC variant. But either way, it's pretty optimal. Reasonably, actually quite thin behind the edge. I think this was almost at its very bottom was like 11 thousandths. Quite thin, quite slicey. It's not hologram, but it still comes down to a nice thin edge. Still got a great grind. Still great utility. Great blade shape. Super functional. You got the Poon here, which actually offers a little bit of stop for your finger. It is nestles in there quite nicely. They have excellent jimping that wraps all the way around on the front flipper. And even though they did my cardinal sin of crowning a front flipper, which normally doesn't work because they can become very uncomfortable when you crown a front flipper. They did it so subtly here that with this perfect jimping, it's just fantastic. The detent is money. It makes different sounds depending on how you flick this thing, which is kind of cool. Don't know what's doing that, but it's doing it, so no complaints. Sharpening Choil and plunge grind is hard to see on this, but I'm pretty sure the plunge grind stops here, which, I mean, the sharpening choil is a giant finger choil, and the plunge grind is amazing. Can't get any better than that. Unless it just were to drop down immediately, and you still have infinite life on this thing. And the stop pins are attached to the blade. They are right there, and roll with the blade. So, no problems whatsoever. Pretty thick titanium slabs here. It's not the lightest knife. It is over 5 ounces. So if you want light carry, this might not be for you, but it's good enough that it might be worth checking out anyway, honestly. There is no internal milling for further weight reduction, but then you have a massive amount of that titanium removed for these giant thick chunks of carbon fiber. I mean, that's pretty thick for carbon fiber. Excellently finished, as is typical Riot fashion. And there were variants that had other materials. I believe there was a micarta variant. The one that I ordered was a crystal titanium variant. That will be even heavier than this. Don't care. Don't care, just don't care. But that might bother some people. But however, you had options. They have pretty darn good lock bar axis. It sticks out a bit, but it's bowled out. It's super comfortable to actuate, and they did my favorite thing and left this little nub on the end of the tang. I love the tang nub because it catches your finger so it doesn't, drop down, which probably wouldn't be a problem even on this one if you go down low. However, some knives it can be a problem, especially if you're down here like this, you can get caught. Not an issue on this knife. And then, of course, it drops like a nice, super controlled, super smooth drop from there on bearings. Great stuff. It is a bolster lock. There is a lock bar insert. Got an interesting little shape back here going on. That is to flow with the edge or the end of the blade. Sort of, as you can see, makes it look curved. It's kind of cool looking. It looks a little bit odd in the open position, but honestly, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. And if you happen to have really big mitts, I mean, you have tons of room on this thing, but if you happen to have big mitts, you might be able to even get your finger wrapped around there too. So you have a ton of position where you can hold this knife. I don't think you're going to have trouble. Backspacer, the only thing I will say, I like the backspacer in the original one. It is radiused and it jimped or milled in some way. However, this is perfectly fine. The edges are smooth. They've even softened the internal of the lock cutout, or the lock bar cutout, which is pretty darn nice. I mean, it's still it's a hard edge, but it's been softened, so no complaints. And you really don't feel it in 99% of the grip positions unless you really jam your finger down into that. But I mean, that's not how I typically hold this knife, so I don't feel it whatsoever. And you can adjust. It's pretty neutral. It's super comfortable. It's super comfortable in the hand. Amazing action, amazing fit and finish, Riot made. I will say, I believe it, I definitely said this in the review, the only downside, or the only thing that I can say is explicitly not as good in my opinion, is the pocket clip. The pocket clip was deeper carry on the first one, which is fine. They had to do this to fit the extra blade length. I'm not going to complain. If they moved the pocket clip up here, it might be too close to the spine, and that can cause its own set of issues. So it was probably smart leaving it where it is, but it's not as deep carry. In fact, it's medium carry to the old one's deep carry, despite being a milled pocket clip. However, the way this pocket clip gets thicker at the end here, it widens out where the other one stayed more parallel. it just creates more surface area down here. It doesn't work any worse, but you can kind of feel this area in the hand a little bit more just because it's wider. Is it a problem? No. Is it bad? No. It's still amazing. It's still ultra comfortable. It's still hand melting. But if you go in certain positions, like right here, for the push grip, at a certain angle and a certain cant, I can feel just this corner. So it would have been nice if it didn't widen out and just stayed more parallel. This little bump here can be the difference between a perfect clip and a terrible clip. In this case, it's between a perfect clip and an amazing clip, but it's not quite as perfect as this one was. Other than that, though, this is a strict upgrade, in my opinion. The One Track Mind logo is on the pivot, which I'm still not sold on. I liked that there was just no markings on the first one. I don't mind that the logo being on the pivot, but it's not my favorite logo in the world. It's just a dude's head. So, other than that, it's freaking amazing. I ordered one because it's freaking amazing. The pre-order has unfortunately shut down, but if you can ever get a chance to check one out, or if you do get a chance to grab one, I think you'd probably be pretty darn happy with this thing. So, that's the IRV2 prototype summary, which it's a great knife. Love it. Love it all day. Love the first one. It was my top knife of 2025, and if this one wasn't a second iteration on that knife, it would already be in the top knives of 2026, almost certainly. As it's even better than the first one. it might be a winner, but I'm not going to put it in the list because, you know, second iteration, that it's a pre-existing model and stuff like that. I don't typically want to consider that as winning again or for the list again. I like new stuff, but yeah, it's that good. It's worthwhile. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm done. See you later. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.